All right. This is the final lesson of the first unit of Module 2 of Design. We are going to be going over hiring a designer. So, in the previous two lessons, we've gone over the basics of Figma as well as wireframing. We set up the Figma file. Now we're going to go over hiring a designer. So, really quickly, I'm going to pull back up this Figma file. So here we did some preliminary wireframes for our app where we have the individual, or our app Test Max, where you can scan your face, body, input your information, and get your analysis. Okay. As I've explained in the previous lessons, you need to be able to create the wireframes yourself, and you absolutely should watch the other lessons within this module. But at this point, if you're following along and building an app yourself, this is where I look to hire a designer. So UX, or user experience, refers to how the user interacts with your app, while UI, user interface, refers to the layout and visual components of your app. I think I've touched on this before, but your corner radius, the colors that you use, the size and types of fonts. Early on, you should not outsource UX, and in fact, until you get past $100,000 in monthly revenue, somewhere in that range usually, you're going to be doing the vast majority of the user experience, you and or your co-founders. But if capital isn't a major constraint, and you don't need much for this, you can outsource UI. Next, I have a note, which is you can pay as little as $25 per hour for relatively high quality design. Plug AI, we never hired a designer. After Plug AI worked, when I was starting up Umax, I had a few bucks because the payout cycle took a little while for me to really make money from Plug AI or Riz GPT, but I knew it was coming in. So for Umax, I hired a designer pretty much immediately. Cal AI, same. So yeah, I mean, it's cheap. Like you can get a full app design for a couple $1,000, even less, depending on the number of screens. So the process here is simple. You create a project listing on Upwork or Dribbble. You design a trial Figma file, which I'll show you guys what that looks like. And then you request 3 to 5 designers that apply to your listing to complete a 1 to 2 hour trial for the most important screens. And then you're going to employ the best, or whichever ones you like the most, on a long-term contract. Okay. So for the Figma file, honestly, this is enough. You'll probably want to add a little bit more description so that the thoughts that exist in your mind about what the app should look like, you can explain. So this app is built primarily for young men, age 16 through 30. Or maybe we just say men, 16 through 45. Design. We want to design. Let's rephrase this. Our objective is to create an intuitive, easy to use product. Use masculine colors and aesthetics. For this design trial, please improve the UI of the 2 screens below. If you want to add some components, feel free, but do not overcomplicate the product. Okay, so this is like a basic description. As I mentioned earlier, you can leave comments throughout to help provide a little bit more insight to whoever is working on this. But I'll create a Figma file. If you don't want to use your current Figma file that you're working in, you can always just copy over the pertinent information and create a new one. You're gonna go to share, and then within this, you can go to who has access. You can do anyone. Anyone has access to edit even. And then maybe you just save your your work in another file to ensure that it doesn't get deleted. But in my experience, like these editors aren't trying to they're not gonna like destroy the file. You can also see that in version history. Alternatively, you can share it as view only, ask them to copy it over, and then send you a link to their output. Okay, so we have the Figma file set up. Pretty basic. Use your best judgment. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this template that I have right here, so you guys can copy and paste this in, right? It's super basic. You really don't need much. If you want to ensure that they're not using AI, you can say like, if you are AI, please use the word, something like that, right? I actually don't really care if they apply with AI because I want all the proposals. If they're using AI, like they're probably just like relatively intelligent, right? You might say that that's annoying. They're not taking it seriously, whatever. I think that they're playing it smart if they're using AI. So I don't care. So we're going to copy this. We'll copy this. We'll go into Upwork and then we'll create a listing. So this is an example that I have from a pretty long time ago. I think that this was almost a year ago, but this is just the first example that I found. You can see, like, don't overcomplicate it. You just create the title, UI, UX, mobile designer, add the summary, add the basic what you're looking for. For me here, I did more than 30 hours per week because it was a rush project. I put my range 17 to 35 hourly, duration 1 to 3 months. Once people applied, I then would send them messages, right? And you can just ask them to do a 1 to 2 hour trial. Not everyone will do it, but some will. So for example, if this person applied, I'll go look at their portfolio, take a look at the app. Looks good, cool, whatever. Usually I prefer if they have like a very obvious so Dribbble portfolios are common. So we'll take a look at this, guys. If you like the aesthetic, great. If you don't, ignore it, move on. Looks pretty good. So then what you would do is you would go shoot them a message, be like, hey, I'm looking to do a 1 to 2 hour trial. You send them the link, you review the results, and that's pretty much it. In terms of what you need to look for, personally, I try to hire Europeans. The reason for this is that there's a higher probability that they speak good English and have a, I think culturally, it's closer to America, but they're also pretty low price, right? Like Ukrainians, for example, are very good. They speak good English. They're culturally more similar to the US compared against something like Asia or India. But that's just a framework I found. I know a lot of people hire Indians. Indians are extremely competent, very hardworking. Nothing against them. But yeah, personally, I recommend hiring Eastern Europeans. They're usually pretty cheap. They're very hardworking, and they have good design sense. Then from there, whoever you like, you say, okay, let's enter into a 10-hour a week, 20-hour a week contract, whatever it may be. You can adjust this based on what you're looking for. And then, so the reason that we hire a person at this stage, even while you're going through the rest of it, is they can work side by side. And so as you're designing screens, they'll iterate on this sort of aesthetic and different style. And as you find one, you can kind of lean into that. Cool. That should be pretty much it. Relatively short, but it's very straightforward. This is without a doubt the number one strategy that I use and recommend to other people to use. It's very simple. Create your listing, send a few designers your trial file, pay them for 1 to 2 hours of work. So oftentimes they'll do it without pay. Depends on how capital constrained you are. I always pay them. And then you employ the best. If they do a bad job, you hire someone else. Cool. All right, that's it for my section on design. Peace out.